the owner of Why Not, Rodney Wing. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, great. How are y'all?
We just disconnected one of our co-hosts, but looks like he's showing back here. I got a little button happy. Now, you guys at Why Not, every show I've ever been to put on a great show outside of Meridian, Mississippi. Talk to the listeners a little bit about your racetrack.
Yeah, I mean we have a great place here. It's a 0.3 mile, clay oval. It's 80 feet wide, and it's just really, really racy. Got progressive banking, so we're very fortunate to have the dirt that we have here, and it doesn't seem to matter whether it's a little on the heavy side or in the transition or even on the slick side. It seems to race really well, and cars can really get 3 and 4 wide on it and put on a real good show. We really have some good races. It's one of those deals where you get caught, you get in the back trying to make your way through there. The only way you get caught up is if they're 3 or 4 wide in front of you. It ain't because the track's one lane for sure,
That's right. Now we were there, the Neesmith Series there back May. Took some pictures of the racetrack, and I take pictures and throw them on Facebook every racetrack I go to. And, I mean, people went apeshit over a couple of the pictures, like, man, what track is that? That thing's wide and smooth. That's how a racetrack should be. And, I mean, what's your secret? Just knowing the dirt?
Well, I don't know. I had a guy that had run the track in the past named Roger Rollison that races here and he's a good friend of mine. He's prepped this track probably as much as anybody, and he's a real good friend of mine. And when we bought the place, he kind of showed me the ropes of everything and done it a lot for me and everything like that. And anytime I got a question or anything like that, I can go to him, and he can, or anytime we get it too screwed up, he can come out here and help us straighten it out and everything like that. But it's pretty easy to maintain. I think, like I say, I've looked at a lot of other tracks and raced a lot of places and stuff, and looked at it and saw some of the problems that they've had and stuff, and it seems like more than anything, we're just very fortunate to have the good quality dirt that we have here. It stays compacted together. Yet it's still, you can get moisture in it easy, and it'll stay, moist through the night and stuff like that, where a lot of other tracks seem to fight with one or the other. They're either so hard you can't get water in them, or either they get enough water in them, then they break all to pieces when you're racing on them and stuff, So it's just kind of, I tell people that a lot, it's some places just don't have much to work with there, as far as that goes. So, but we're just fortunate. Like I say, I ain't bragging about it. It's just definitely we're fortunate to have what we have here as far as dirt goes, for sure.
I've seen several races there. You need to brag. It's awesome. Another thing that I really respect about you, and you would have to be considered one of the youngest owners in the country, I would think. I mean, I don't know every owner, but you embrace social media, and you embrace the YouTube stuff, and you guys, or you yourself, do some of your own recording and radio commercials.
Yeah, absolutely. I got into that because I had a hard time relaying what I wanted the DJs to say and stuff like that and everything, and they were aggravating me on that. I'd tell them what to say, and they'd say something stupid on a commercial or something. So I just, the iPhones are a wonderful thing. I just record what I want to say on the iPhone and email it to them, and they put some graphics behind it and put it on the air. So.
Well, that's cool. Now, you guys have a ton of racing left this season. You got at the end of the month, you got an event coming up. But before we talk about the Neesmith event at the end of the month, the Fall Classic, that has got to be one of the greatest unsanctioned big money races in the country. Tell us a little bit about that and the history of that race. Yeah,
that race is definitely a big one. We Charles Thrash started that race. I guess it's about the 15th annual one this year, I think, coming up. I'm not sure, 15th, 16th, something like that. But he started the race way back then here at Why Not, and then Why Not had changed ownership and closed down a while and everything like that. But that race, he's had that race at different tracks. He had it at Jackson and a couple other tracks during the years while Why Not was closed down. Had a Queen City several times, and then but anyway, it came back home to Why Not when I bought the racetrack here 7 years ago. So for the last 7 years, I've been in partners with him on it, and we hold it here at Why Not, and it's definitely a big one. You know, we pay $15,000 to the winner and $1,000 to start, which you know is quality money anywhere, and it attracts a lot of the big name guys coming here. You know, and it really we really put on a show. This place, you know, people in this area kind of plan vacations around the Fall Classic and stuff, you know, so they can come out and really spend, you know, really the week with us, you know, from about Wednesday, campers start coming in and filling the place up, and they stay with us until Sunday. So it's a good time for sure.
You and I've talked before, especially through the Neesmith series, but the Mississippi fans are some of the best fans. I've been to a lot of racetracks, and just seems like the Mississippi people just fill it up. They fill it up at every event I've ever been to over there, whether it be your track or up there in Columbus at the two speedways up there. Are they just race crazy in Mississippi?
Well, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I think they really turn out for the real big races, and that Fall Classic seems to really bring them out of the woodwork. And I'm knocking on wood as I say that, because I don't want to jinx that, because we have a lot of money on the line there. But a lot of our weekly shows, you know, are kind of slow right now. We've talked. I was just on the phone with Johnny Stokes earlier today, and we were talking about some ideas and things to do. Because I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just across the board, but I know in Mississippi for sure the weekly shows are pretty slow, and some of our regional events aren't quite as big as they used to be as far as crowd counts. But when we put on the big shows, they still seem to come out of the woodwork for them. So that's a great deal. Well,
that moves me into the next part of the conversation. Neesmith, you're sanctioned track with the Neesmith weekly series. Also, we've got touring events in there. What's the experience been like for the late model scene there at Why Not with Neesmith involvement?
Well, I think it's been great. You know, this area, you know, is definitely not the richest area by any means, and we, you know, I grew up, you know, late models have been hot and cold different times, you know, as I grew up watching racing around the area. And really, in the several years prior to me getting the racetrack here, late models have been kind of a dying breed, you know, the super late models have. And, you know, it had gotten to where in this area around here, you come out and watch, you know, 4 or 5 super late models, and one of them's got a real big motor and whoops the hell out of the rest of them money-wise and stuff like that, you know, and it you know, wasn't much of a race with things like that. And so the crate deal, I was fortunate when I bought the racetrack here, the crate deal was really coming onto the scene then, and I got hooked up with Mike Vaughn and the guys there, and this area went from, you know, 5 or 6 late models, super late models to run on a race, weekly race to, you know, 15 or so, you know, 15 to 20. And so it you know, anybody loves watching 15 or 20 late models on the track at one time, getting after it and racing door to door and all like that, not just one car running off and leaving the rest of them. So it has really been a blessing for us, because the people can afford to do it, and they still put on such a good show that, I mean, nobody can tell the difference. I mean, it's just, you know, the lap times even. We've had some times where we've raced super late models and crates the same night. The lap times, you know, aren't that far apart at all. You know, so I mean, the most we've seen them apart's about, you know, maybe a half a second at the most. You know, but most of the time they're right there within a couple tenths. You know, so it definitely isn't a big difference by any means.
Well, but before I let you get out of here, I got to say that I tuned in today at 9 o'clock this morning on the Speed Channel, and who did I see on the front row of the 4 wide salutes at the Clash at the Mag? But it was Rodney Wing in the 10 car. Now I don't think the event went as you planned, but so when you're not promoting your track, when you're not working at your track, you're a driver. How cool is it to make? And you've made those shows before when we've been over there, whether I was with Dirt on Dirt or whoever, but. What's it mean when you get to make those shows and race against those guys?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Those shows are very, very special to make, you know, because I mean, every time we go to those things, we've been fortunate. We've made it the last 3 or 4 years in a row when we've been up there, but it's not easy for sure, you know, and every year we're getting ready for the feature. You can look around and see some of the guys that are loading up, and you just think, wow, you know, those are some of the guys we watch on TV every weekend, we're in the show and they're not. So I mean, it's definitely humbling and a great thing to be a part of, and I'm glad they have that up at Magnolia, one of my favorite tracks to race at, you know. But anyway, I learned that if you ain't on the front row, you want to be on the sixth row, so you can still get on TV during the whole salute.
And Chad, my boy Chad Thrash was in the race also. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
To hear his name called over. Well, it's just cool when you know people that are on TV. I hadn't been fortunate enough to make TV yet, so I had to make my own internet radio show. So, anyway,
Scott Deadweiler, we raced against him. We grew up racing go-karts and everything with him, and he, he's from right here locally, and he ended up running third in that deal. So we definitely got some good guys that race around here. You know, some tough competition on a statewide level here for sure.
Well, Shaw and Washington, and not to get away from you and what you're doing at Why Not, but you can't say Chase Washington without saying Jeremy Shaw right now in the crate series over there.
Yeah, those guys are both tough for sure. We like to see them come race with us.
All right, before we let you get out of here, Rodney, I want you to tell us real quick about the event at the end of the month here with the NeSmith Series.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having this. This will be the 7th year on it, and it's the Coca-Cola Classic 75 this year. Coca-Cola has been a part of it every year. They named it different things, NOS Energy or Coke Zero or whatnot, but this year they're going to call it the Coca-Cola 75. And it's just a great event. You know, it's a 2-day show. The crate cars really seem to love it and come out and support it. We get the 2-seater car of NeSmith and bring it in and have raise money for the American Cancer Society and auction off rides and things like that. And it's a good community event, you know, and the race has been actually one of our record crowds come from that race. So it definitely brings in the crowd and brings in good cars and it's just a good quality event for sure.
Well, all right, Rodney, I appreciate you taking time out of your evening. I know you guys got a lot going on over there, especially getting ready for this big event. And are we going? What's the next event we're going to see you race in?
Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody listening to this will feel sorry for me and buy me a motor to race. We had run. That was actually that TV deal was a borrowed motor from Chris Wall. He loaned us a motor for a few weeks there, and but we got to give that back. And so, but our motor program that we had before, we had some problems with, and pretty much run out of money to repair it. So it's we're just kind of on the sidelines right now as far as that goes. But we don't get to race that much anyway because the racetrack keeps us busy. You know, we're doing some other things in our personal life, opening up another business. We're fixing to open up a buddy's home furnishing store in Meridian, Mississippi here. So it's we got a full plate right now, but we definitely gonna find time to get in a little racing. We just got to figure out how.
I hear you. Well, everybody, you can check Rodney Speedway at whynotmotorsportspark.com. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right. Well, Rodney, we'll see you at the end of the month, and thank you for being on In the Dirt.
Okay. Thank y'all.